Welcome back, students of Standard 8. Today we are going to discuss about the following topics: basic features of Java. Then we will discuss about the concept of compiler and interpreter and their importance or significance in Java. Then we'll have a basic hierarchy structure of classes and objects in the Java library. So let's begin with the topic basic features of Java. The very first feature of Java is that Java is an example of object-oriented programming language. Now, what does this mean? In this case, what happened in case of object-oriented programming language, the concentration is on the object as a whole. An object is made up of functions as well as data members. Data members means variables and constants. So there were programs that were related to, or rather they laid more emphasis on or stress upon data members or the functions. That is either of the two. But Java is a programming language which is giving more importance to the object as a whole. That means it gives equal importance to the data members as well as the functions. So it is an example of object-oriented programming language. That is, the concept of programming in Java is related to the concept of objects that exist in the real world. So that's why we say that Java is an object-oriented programming language. Then Java uses both compiler and interpreter. It is the only language so far known that uses both compiler as well as an interpreter. There were other languages like COBOL uses a compiler, QBasic uses compiler, BASIC uses interpreter. So other languages they used either compiler or interpreter, whereas Java is the only language that uses both compiler as well as interpreter. I will come down to the compiler and interpreter in the second topic in detail. The third one is that you can access data from local system as well as from the internet. So it is platform independent. Okay, and since it is platform independent, then as a result what happens is you can run the Java program anywhere. Okay, by just changing the interpreter you can work, either you can work in DOS or you can work in BlueJ. Of course we will be writing programs in the BlueJ as a platform. So any platform basically means it is a combination of hardware and system software. Remember, platform means it's a combination of hardware and system software. So it can run on any given platform. That's why there is a word called WORA. Please remember, there's a word called WORA. WORA here, W stands for write, okay, then once, and the second one is run anywhere. Write once and run anywhere means you can write the program once, but you can execute the program on any given platform, and that's the reason it is called WORA. Okay, that means platform independence. I hope you all have understood this one. Remember the names and the short forms, rather the expanded form of WORA and so on. The next one is Java programming is written within the class. Okay, and the variables and functions, they are also defined within the class. That means Java requires a class. Unlike other what you call languages, like for example C, COBOL, they do not require class. Basic, they do not require a class. But Java and C++, because they both are examples of object-oriented programming language, so they always require a class. We'll understand the there are two types of Java programs also. Okay, so remember here that Java requires a class, and Java program creates applets and applications. Now let's understand the difference between applets and applications first. Applets always require a web browser. That means without a web browser it cannot run. Okay, you have already done HTML programs and you have seen that it always require a web browser. So applets require a web browser, and the second point is that it is platform dependent. It is totally dependent on the web browser. Without a web browser it cannot be executed. Whereas when we talk about applications, it is also known as stand-alone applications, and applets is also known as internet applets. So in case of stand-alone applications, it always requires a class for compilation as well as for execution. So in order to that is compile or execute a Java program, it always requires a class. Without a class it will not work. The second point is that it is platform independent. That is, it runs on any given platform. A platform means a combination of hardware and system software. So it can run on any given platforms. So these are the two differences between an applet program as well as an application programs, also known as internet applets and stand-alone applications. So please remember the difference between these two. Okay, as we move on to the basic features of Java. Then Java uses another important feature is that Java uses lightweight codes, means very simple English codes. Okay, commands it uses so that the user can easily understand its what you call the meaning. Alright, then in some of the languages, like for example C language, C++ languages, you will find there is a hash symbol is there with a header file. Okay, like this way, hash is written and then it's written over there, that is include, and then you have that stdio.h, something like this. You know, these kinds of things are written over there. It's called a header file. stdio.h is a header file. H stands for header file. Okay, and this is called preprocessor. All right, so it is a kind of a symbol that allows these what you call the contents of this file from the library to be included. In Java we do not use a preprocessor. This one is never used. Okay, instead what we use is we use a keyword called import space java dot say io dot star. This is how we write. Okay, so Java does not use any header file. Okay, what we can do is we can include, we can import, we can bring, we can activate the header files from the Java library. Okay, so no preprocessor is used in Java. That is another feature of Java. Okay, and of course another important thing is that Java is case sensitive. That means there is a difference. There is a difference between a variable a, like we write here int a equals to 5, and another one int a is equals to 5. In basic you might have noticed both becomes the same. Okay, both are same. But in this case what happens, these two are different. Capital A and small a, they both are different. So Java is case sensitive. It means that it differentiates between the uppercase and the lower case. Alright, so that was the basic features of Java that we have. Then we move on to the compiler and the interpreter, the concept of compiler and interpreter. As we know that both compiler and interpreter, they are nothing but they are called as language processors. Please remember. Okay, or in other words, in simple English language we call them as translators. Okay, or also it is also known as, that is, language processors. Please remember, in computer language it is called language processor. In simple English language it is known as a translator. So what is the basic purpose of a translator or a language processor? Let's come down to the programming language. The purpose of translator or a language processor is to convert a high level language, okay, high level language into machine language. That is the basic purpose of a language processor or a translator. All right. So what happens is, while other languages, other programming languages are either compiled or interpreted, Java is such a language which is compiled as well as interpreted. Okay, it is both compiled as well as interpreted. So let us understand the ordinary compilation, like the compilation with respect to other programming languages. That's called ordinary compilation. In case of ordinary compilation, what happens is, you have a source code. Please remember, what is a source code? Source code means the program that is written in high level language, that is in our ordinary language, is called a source code. This source code is either compiled using a compiler or an interpreter into what is known as object code. Okay, directly into object code. It is either compiled or directly interpreted into an object code. Object code is a machine code, and it is also known as native executable code. Why native? Native means, that is, which belongs to. Okay, so here it is a native executable code, and therefore what happens, that means it will work only for that particular machine for which it has been created. That is called native executable code, right? Because the language, it has been created for a particular kind of machine, so it will work only that for that particular kind of machine. It will not work for other type of machines. That's why it is called native executable code, and therefore its nature is platform dependent. Platform dependent means they are dependent on the platform. They cannot work on other platforms other than the one which they have been assigned for. So that's why they are called native executable code. Okay, then we move on to the Java compilation. In case of Java compilation, what happens? In case of Java compilation, again the source code is compiled into what is called as bytecode first. Now what is this bytecode? It is compiled, and the name of the compiler is, that is, Java C, or it is also called JIT, that is just in time, what we call compiler, just in time compiler, and Java C. Okay, Javac. You can also call it as Javac, or you can call it as Java C. So it is, what happens is this in case of Java compilation. Now we move on to the Java compilation. In case of Java compilation, because as it uses both a compiler as well as interpreter, so the name of the Java compiler is Java C, or JIT, just in time compiler. So it converts the source code directly into this is called an intermediate code. Intermediate code means it is neither source code nor object code. Okay, so therefore what happens is, it is an intermediate code that is being created, and this is platform independent. Remember, this is platform independent. Platform independent. So remember, it is platform independent means it can work on any given platform. Now this bytecode is further converted into what is called as object code. is further converted into object code, that is machine code, machine instruction, binary numbers. Okay, so here in the form that is in the presence of Java interpreter known as Java virtual machine. Please remember, Java virtual machine. Okay, so now what happens, by and large you have the idea about what is Java interpreter or what is JVM. JVM is a Java virtual machine. Okay, it is an interpreter of Java that converts bytecode into object code. Simple definition. No, you don't have to worry about anything. Then what is bytecode? Bytecode is an intermediate code formed when the source code is compiled in Java, and it is platform independent. I hope you all have got the answer. Name the Java compiler and the Java interpreter. It is Java C or JIT, and the Java interpreter is JVM, which is called, full form is Java virtual machine. Okay, so please remember this one. Now I will discuss this one, that is the package classes, in the next what you call videos. So till then, be safe and sound, enjoy yourself, understand the difference between Java compilation and what you call ordinary compilation. Okay, how is ordinary compilation different from Java compilation? In ordinary compilation, the source code is directly converted into object code. This object code is also known as native executable code, and it is platform dependent. It works on the particular platform for which it has been created. It will not work for other platforms. That's why it's called native executable code. So I guess all of you have understood this one. So take care. Please try to understand this. You may not find in the book, but still remember them, and this will help you a lot. God bless each one of you. Enjoy the days.